dreams. Nice warm tea, we can feel stress-free. Soft voices and a lot of laughs. It's the Monday podcast.
Hey you, how's it going? I hope you're having a really good week. Nay, a really good life. No, that's probably too much. I hope you have a good life, but I feel like it's a lot of pressure to put on someone at the start of a podcast you may or may not have heard before. Either way, I hope you're doing well. My name is Chris, and this is the podcast, The Mundane with Chris and Dave, and I'm the aforementioned Chris.
I'm the Dave part of that one.
And we're here today to, we've already said to do a podcast. Once again, this intro is all about the place. I feel like I'm getting closer. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting closer to a good intro.
But we also might never get to the
Never
intro,
get there.
and that might be our thing.
Yeah,
maybe.
that might be, I think, maybe one day there'll be a compilation online of all of the intros, and then they'll be like, oh, they're a bit similar. Because I feel like they're getting similar where we're getting a bit more specific, but also not specific enough to be identified as us.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. One day we'll get it right.
Maybe that should be the intro. One day we'll get it right. But for now...
Yeah. One day we'll get it right. Anyway, so Dave, we've come now. We're going to do the subject of today. I'm trying to think of a clue to give to you.
Okay,
All
right. This is always so exciting.
Oh.
That sounded sarcastic then as well, but no, genuinely. It might be the mundane, but this part, and the whole podcast, but also this part is so exciting for me. I love it. I don't know what it's going to be.
So it's something you decorate a room with, but not everyone uses it. Only some people do, and some people only do it on a wall. That's probably a bit too easy.
I think it might be wallpaper.
It is wallpaper, David. Well done. It is wallpaper. Yeah, that wasn't a good clue. I feel like I should have done it. So
No, to be honest, I thought of wallpaper as soon as you said it's something you decorate your room with.
My womb with, yeah. You don't want to decorate your womb with that. You use womb paper for that.
How many, mundane room decorations are there? Then when you add the next bit that not everybody uses, because that probably takes away skirting boards. Most people use skirting boards, I think. Anyway,
use skirting boards because skirting boards I find. Yeah, I suppose I would. Are they a choice? Normally, you just come to it and they just happen to have skirting boards.
I think they're pretty essential most of the time because they you never get the edges quite right on your carpet or your lino or even the wood flooring. So you have the skirting boards and they just neaten the edges. But the ceiling skirting boards, I don't know if they're called something different. And I know this is off topic, but
I wonder how many people listening to the podcast right now are looking, because I literally, as you were saying it, I started looking around the room going, do I use ceiling skirting boards? I don't.
Or I suppose you would say, does my landlord or the person who built this room? I can tell you here at the studio, we've not put skirting boards in our control room, but the room is not actually finished yet. So we might still do. And we do have skirting boards in the other room that we built ourselves out of wood.
Oh, it's called coving, isn't it?
Coving, that's what it is on the ceiling.
So people listening to the podcast were either looking around to see if they had it or they went, it's coving, you fool.
Yeah, they're shouting at their radios or whatever they're listening to us on right now.
Oh, I like to think that someone's listening to us on a radio.
I do. I listen to us on a those Roberts radios.
Oh yeah.
So it looks retro, but it connects up to Spotify, and that's how I listen to us.
Oh wow. Oh,
yeah.
That's nice.
In the kitchen whilst I'm making dinner, usually with my lovely other half. And brings us off topic to skirting boards when we're supposed to talk about wallpaper.
Exactly.
That's something I do.
So no, that's okay. So what's your opinion on wallpaper, Dave?
I think it's nice. And actually, in my day job, delivering beds and mattresses, I actually notice a lot of really nice wallpaper and also quite a lot of really twee old wallpaper. Tell you what, it's one thing you do notice in a house. If they've got nice wallpaper, I think you really notice. You go in like, wow, that's some nice wallpaper. Sometimes I think people have very garish wallpaper. They might think it looks nice and it's modern. It's not like dated or whatever, like the dated wallpaper that you often see. But some people go down and it's like, oof, wow. And they usually have like lots of mirrors and things like that. And it's all a bit like, ooh, this room's intense.
Yeah, I do kind of, not for my own home, but I do appreciate going into rooms like that. It gives them character. It's
Yeah,
like me. It's like
absolutely.
I like to wear bright colours. Anyone that knows me, and often I like to give that vibe of somebody that, like, so when you walk in a room, you're like, ah, like I want to be that, I want to be that kind of wallpaper in person form.
I think you do that well.
Oh, thank you. So, especially more modern houses, do you find, because I find not a lot of places use wallpaper on all the walls anymore. They often just use it for a feature wall. Is that more common than just coating the room in wallpaper?
Yes, I'd say so, actually, based on, again, my experience in my day jobs of
I
delivering.
like that this has become an interview. I'm interviewing in the post-COVID world. I'm now interviewing. I was like, David, you have been into numerous strangers' houses recently as part of your job. So using your experience, you are going to tell me about the state of everybody's interior decoration.
Happy to help. Only really people who work in various people's houses get to see quite as much wallpaper as I do.
Yeah, I suppose if you're really good at dating, or bad at dating, I suppose, depending on how you frame it. Like, you go into a lot of people's houses. If you're a cat burglar, I'm trying to think of non-work scenarios that you would go into lots of strangers' houses.
Yeah.
If you're a very intimate delivery driver.
But that's work.
Oh, that is work.
Still. Yeah. If you've got a massive family and you're all really good at regularly seeing each other.
Yeah, that's true. But then you make friends really quickly and you go and they're like, oh, let's have a dinner. But you do come dine with me. You do a lot of come dine with me, like on the show. You go around to lots of people's houses.
Assuming you're not someone that does that professionally.
Yeah, exactly.
For work. I don't think anyone on Come Dine With Me does do it professionally.
Yeah, I think like in terms
Probably
of
not.
like people, like the amount, I was just thinking in terms of professionals, I think the people that may see the most amount of interior or get used to the interiors of places and probably sees, I suppose they'd be quite similar. I was going to say a piano tuner, because a piano tuner will be in your house for like anything from an hour to like 3 hours. So they get quite intimate with your room. Not physically,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not physically, like emotionally. They get very emotionally intimate in your room. They get used to that room.
But they're spending a lot of time with their head in a piano.
That is
right?
true.
And focusing on a piano, like a plumber is spending most of the time in the bathroom, and like an electrician. Okay, an electrician, they're going to look at a wallpaper quite a lot, especially if they're detecting wires in
the wall. Yeah.
But I would say that my trade is certainly one of the more wallpaper heavy trades.
Yes.
Because I'm often lining beds up with the wallpaper, like the headboard, so it centers in the room.
Oh, okay.
And above all, like sometimes these beds, like they take an hour or so to build. So I'm in the room for a while, and sometimes I go more than one room in the same house, and I get to see one person's taste in wallpaper across like a spectrum of different wallpapers in their house.
Yeah.
So I don't just see, lots of different wallpapers in different houses. Sometimes I see a house that's got different wallpapers in each room and see how they've coordinated them. Is there a scheme, or are they just totally random? Have they maybe not finished decorating yet?
I was going to say the other thing is a bedroom. How, like, in terms of your priorities for decoration, how often do you really decorate your bedroom to like the max? Like, if you had to set a budget of like first, second, third, let's just say just first, second, third, like I would probably say first is probably a type between a kitchen and a living room in terms of how you I suppose kitchen isn't necessarily decoration, it's more utility maybe.
Yeah.
Like you want to pay for a good kitchen for the utility.
Yeah.
And then obviously because you're paying for that, you might as well make it look good.
Yeah.
While a living room, a lot of people are going to be going in and out of that. So that's the room you want to kind of top your budget out for the kind of start. While a bedroom, maybe only one other person is going to see it, and maybe the person that comes to bring their bed. So in terms of like the amount of effort, much like when you work from home, you don't wear your best clothes. The room that I'm going to not put my best wallpaper in, or my most interior design energy into, would probably be the bedroom.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Maybe bottom's the garage. A garage is probably the bottom. I'd say the bottom is probably a garage. You don't decorate a garage really.
No.
Unless it becomes a zone for people. But if it's just a utility room, then it's just...
You go for a functional paint, white, something that's, bright to light the room up a bit so you can see more. But yeah, you're not going to decorate your garage unless, like you say, it's a place that you hang out with your mates in. You might turn it into a man cave, and then you might, decorate it with maybe not wallpaper, but almost certainly not wallpaper. Has anyone ever wallpapered their garage? That's our writers in moment for now. Have you ever wallpapered your garage? I'd love to know. And it doesn't count if you've converted the garage into a bedroom, because I've been to places where that's been done, but no. I'm talking about like it's still a utility-based room. You don't have to keep a car in there, but it's still utility-based, but have you wallpapered it? Right.
So what do you think the most common room is to have wallpaper in? Is it a bedroom or is it a living room or a study?
No, it's definitely between bedroom and living room from my experience, but it might be quite an even split, to be honest. Okay, here's what I think might be totally wrong. I think you're more likely to have a feature wallpaper situation in the living room and full wallpaper in the bedroom, but at the same time I think these days you're more likely to have a feature wall in either room. But if there's to be a room that's fully wallpapered, I think that's more likely to be the bedroom, because maybe people want to feel more enclosed by their whatever wallpaper they've got when they're in bed or something. I don't know. Wallpaper psychology. If there's any wallpaper psychologists out there, no, so I can't keep asking people to write in. No one has yet, by the way, guys. No one's. Well, we've had comments on our social media, to be fair, but
yeah, write to us on social media. That'll be the best place. And the mundane.uk is our Instagram and everything. Yeah, just write to us. We'd love to hear from you.
It would be amazing. We're lonely and we miss contact with people except ourselves.
Please write to us. So, funnily enough, we're talking about psychology. Let's become historians, Dave, because I have
here we go. Yeah,
the history of wallpaper from a very surprising source, because normally I try and find the more kooky written ones. And this is from the BBC.
I was about to jokingly say, is it the BBC?
Yeah, you know what, right? The BBC, you think, normally they're quite dry, which is why I like it. I like the kind of like more facty based things. But this one is from, I think, like the culture part, the article. It's from the collection design. It's by Andrew Wilson. And the title of it is The Surprising Story of Wallpaper.
Surprising.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And then I started reading it. I was like, this is quite interestingly written. So, okay, so this is Andrew Watson. This is from the 7th of November 2018, just in case you wondered. And it's got like, like I forgot what they call it, like the bold bit before the main article. How a staple of luxury decor has gone from the work of art to designer must-have, with some ups and downs along the way. Okay, here we go. So, what did the wallpaper that hung in Oscar Wilde's cheap Parisian hotel room look like? He said he was fighting a duel to the death with it. One of us will have to go. Frustratingly, there are no details of the aesthetic offence it had committed, and despite its iconic status, no one had thought to preserve a sample when the room in which Wilde died was redecorated. Have you heard that story? That requires like knowing that story.
I don't think I do.
I only heard that story. I wish I could say because I'm smart and I knew about the death of Oscar Wilde, but actually it was because another article I've got that might come up later is 13 facts about wallpaper. So the fact says Oscar Wilde died in a second-rate French hotel. His last words were either "this wallpaper goes" or "I do." And apparently then the wallpaper remained because he, died. So the wallpaper won. And we don't know what that wallpaper was. So
is it still there?
No. So that's what this article has just said, was that unfortunately no one thought to preserve a sample, but it is iconic. So that hotel, which I'm sure you could find online where he died, apparently, had bad wallpaper, at least to Oscar Wilde's
I'd love to know what it looked like.
Yeah, he's quite fashion. Like the one thing I do know about Oscar Wilde is that he was very fashionable. Says me.
You're fashionable, Chris.
Thank you, Dave. So are you. That is the fate of most wallpapers. They are a transient item of decor.
Transient?
Yeah. They stain, crease, become mouldy, and above all, go out of fashion.
Yes, yeah, they definitely go out of fashion.
Yeah.
And they do go mouldy. Yeah, that is true. These are facts.
These are facts. Yep. Historic examples usually only exist in archives, although thankfully exquisite block-printed and hand-finished Chinese wallpapers have survived in historic homes.
I should probably mention, actually, I forgot earlier, that in my house there is wallpaper. Not in my bedroom. My house, it's not my house, I should say, as well. It was bought by someone else, and I live in there with my business partners. But two of the bedrooms, I think it's just two of them, Well, actually, I think there used to be some downstairs that's been painted over, but 2 of the bedrooms still have wallpaper, and I think at least one of the rooms, possibly both, the wallpaper was done by an artist and is actually worth a lot of money. I don't know if they were saying like £100 or a couple of £100 per square meter, like, expensive stuff. And the people that put it in, the lady was an artist who previously lived there. I think they both were, the husband and wife. And, they put it in all this expensive wallpaper and then they've moved out. And I don't know, I just find it a little bit odd in a way. It's not, I look at it, it's like, wow, really? That's expensive? I don't want that in my room.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing though with art and things like that, especially, is that as it gets out of fashion very quickly, especially in a house. Like that design, interior design ages like fashion. It changes so quickly. It's almost a problem, with fast fashion.
That's why I think it's generally better to go for a rustic look, because that's a look that tends to, I think, stand the test of time.
Same as in fashion though, jeans and a t-shirt, just the cut of jeans. If you have normal cut jeans and a t-shirt, like boot cut jeans, I don't know, I'm gonna like really ruin my fashion credentials here. If you have like straight cut jeans, if you have straight cut
I wear
jeans,
straight cut jeans.
Straight cut jeans are always in fashion. Skinny jeans are now apparently falling out of fashion, and then there's like baggy jeans, which are cool again. But
oh yeah. Do you remember when we all wore the really baggy jeans?
Yeah, they're all back in fashion now, apparently.
Are they back in now?
Yeah. That's why skinny jeans are out. Like,
no way.
Flared jeans, baggy jeans, they're all really back in fashion.
That's exciting.
Yeah, but the one difference is they're not like flared to the floor. It's fashionable to have them like cut off a bit just above like the ankle, which it makes way more sense because it means you're not dragging them along the floor like we used to. I had short legs though, so that might have just been an issue for me. But that's one of the reasons. Yeah, apparently it's a sign. If you're old, if you're still wearing skinny jeans, that's now an old person thing, is to wear skinny jeans. So,
well, I suppose it was cool when we were younger to wear skinny jeans, and if we've still got them in our drawers and we still wear them, maybe we're old. Maybe we're what the youngsters consider old.
We're not. We're getting older, and the way I look at it now, we're in our 30s. And the way I look at it is now, we're no longer young, but we're not old. We're just adults. If there was a bus crash, we wouldn't be pictured. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like all the pretty young people and all like, the famous old people, they would have their photos up and it'd be like, oh my God. But we're just like default. We're like, we are now the signs on toilet doors.
Yeah. We're standard, basically.
We're standard.
Medium, regular.
Yeah.
Once, we were at an age where we had conversations about how much Strongbow we could get Justin to get us from Spa because we weren't old enough. And now we have conversations about wallpaper.
That we're recording to them.
That we're recording to broadcast to the world.
So in a way, we now have enough self-confidence to be like, everyone else needs to hear this. They need to hear our take on wallpaper. So, apparently the Chinese have the honour of inventing wallpaper.
That doesn't entirely surprise me, actually.
Yeah, they are said to have pasted rice papers onto walls as far back as the Qin dynasty. Smoother linen fibres later replaced rice, so that painting and printing on paper became easier. By the 12th century, the skill of paper making had spread to the west via the Silk Route. The earliest surviving fragment of European wallpaper, found in Christ's College, Cambridge, dates from what century do you think it was from?
I'll go to 13th century.
15th century.
Oh, really?
So there is a good, well, I suppose like in those centuries, wallpaper would also have to become common because it's just paper making at this point.
Okay, yeah,
but
true.
So this was made by Hugo Goes of York. That's a very confusing name because that reads, his name is Hugo. It might be Hugo Goss, Hugo Goes, but it's literally spelt like the word goes. So it literally reads like Hugo Goes to York. It was made by Hugo Goes of York, who has a damask style design of pomegranates derived from Islamic prototypes and later much copied in Italian and Spanish textiles. It is a key sample, not only because it shows how textile designs influence wallpaper, but also because it is a block print. The only way I can describe it is that it looks like, the back of a pound coin and it's got like the coat of arms, but it looks really busy. It's got like those little like leaf things and the little things all around it. Yeah. It looks kind of like that, but it was like a block printed design that was kind of like, almost like stamped on. Advances in block printing technology heralded the widespread use of wallpaper. Images taken from tapestries and other expensive fabrics, such as damasks and tooled leather, used by the wealthy to adorn their walls, were copied onto blocks of paper for poorer households. According to the V&A's Short History of Wallpaper, it has never quite thrown off the taint that comes from being a cheap imitation. But this view is being challenged by recent developments in the world of interiors. So even back then, they didn't like wallpaper. There was still wallpaper snobs.
Yeah, it's obviously a thing that divides people.
Yeah, I suppose people are just like,
or divides opinion. Yeah,
it's like posters on the wall, though. I suppose if I walk in, it's like if I walk into somewhere and they've got like a naked woman calendar, I'm gonna make a judgment.
It doesn't scream class to me.
Doesn't,
either.
no. And I suppose if they're walking into a house and they're seeing a cheap imitation of a tapestry they know and love, they're going to have those feelings, I guess.
Yeah. You've got to be brave in some ways to put certain wallpaper in your house. There's certainly safe wallpaper you can go for, but even that wallpaper will in time get judged for being dated because all wallpaper becomes dated at some point.
Exactly. The first guild for dominateurs. I'm so sorry. There's a lot of words in there I'm going to butcher so badly. So I'm sorry in advance. The first guild for dominateurs is how it's spelled. Dominateurs. It's French. Makers of wallpaper. Dominateurs? I can't do it. Makers of wallpaper. So that they're French makers of wallpaper. So if you're a dominateur, you are a French maker of wallpaper. Was created in France in 1599. Historian Savary de Brusion describes them as making a type of tapestry on paper used by the poorer classes in Paris to cover the walls of their huts or their shops. Even then, there was snobbery. The thing is, right, everything cool comes from, like, poors doing up from rich people. It's what pizza comes from.
Yeah.
So the best kinds of soups, the best kinds of stews, they were all made by non-stupid, boring rich people.
The working class, basically. Yeah.
The best. Anyway.
Yeah.
With the people. As opposed to those rich that aren't people at all.
They're lizards or something, aren't they?
They're lizards,
something like
that's
that.
true. Yeah, they're lizards. With the invention of the first machine for printing wallpaper in 1785, the French came to dominate the industry. One of the most famous manufacturers was Jean-Baptiste Révillon, who had a royal warrant and produced lavish and ludicrously expensive papers for the aristocracy in his factory in Paris. And there's a couple of photos and they look really nice. They're like painted flowers. They're kind of like white with the kind of painted flowers in a pattern. The papers featured flowers, swans, birds and beasts and were often hung as panels framed with gilt edges.
Is that still wallpaper if they're hung as panels?
I suppose it's almost a feature wall.
Yeah, I suppose it's in that territory. To slightly interject, but we are still on the topic of the history of wallpaper. Could we say that wallpaper has its roots in the very earliest form of home decoration? Because, cavemen lived in caves and wrote on the walls. And did they, was that wallpaper and was that decoration?
Interesting. Well, there's a mural. Well, I suppose murals are part of interior decoration. My dream, if I ever own a house, at this rate, who knows, but would be to have like a mural on my wall as opposed to like wallpaper or anything, to have it like made as a mural.
What would you have as a mural?
I don't know. I'd get some of my artist friends to do something.
Yeah,
I'd get the mundane with Chris and Dave as a giant mural with all of the subjects we've talked about. Oh, I just remembered. Yeah, so those thingy panels, like, I suppose it's like a poster. It's like a wallpaper, but it takes up a lot of the wall.
Oh, okay. Oh, isn't that like a tapestry then?
Well, that's kind of what wallpaper. But they're prints.
Oh,
remember? Tapestries
right. Okay,
are made. So
yeah,
and it's paper. It's printed paper, potentially in a pattern or in one big image.
But it was hung rather than stuck to the wall.
It was stuck to. I think it was stuck with a frame on it.
Oh, right. Right, okay.
Yeah, so it was stuck to the wall, but it still had a frame around it.
Kind of like skirting board and coving, maybe.
Kind of. It's like, it takes up most of the wall. The only way I could describe it, old-fashioned wardrobes, and they have like a little mural in the middle?
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but on walls.
Okay, I think I can kind of picture what you mean. Yeah.
If you've ever been to Versailles, they have them in there. I remember seeing them in there.
I haven't been there, but yeah, I know.
It's amazing. I recommend anyone, if you ever go to Paris, it's all right, but go to Versailles, which is like a train journey. You can get a train from Paris. It's wonderful. The Palace of Versailles is worth every penny to go. I love it there. It's very interesting, and you see a lot of old things, including a bed with seats all around it, which is just a whole thing.
A bed with seats.
Seats all around it so people could watch, but that's a whole different thing. We're not going to get into that now. That's look into your French history. It's like mad. Poor Marie Antoinette in every thing of the word. Anyway, all the way back. They're like these big panels that take up most of the wall. So as opposed to what we know as just like filling the whole wall almost edgelessly, unless you have coving. But like, a giant frame that takes up most of the wall. Yeah. So like I said, imagine that wardrobe. Imagine a wardrobe that has like a pattern in the middle. Imagine that, but on a wall and bigger.
So did you ever have, I think it was maybe called like borders. So when I was really little, I had Thomas the Tank Engine borders, and it's like a strip of wallpaper with a theme going all around the top edge of your room. Or
are they not a thing anymore?
I'm not sure if they are. I've certainly not seen them in my work.
Goodness. Oh, you've not seen them in your work. So in your experience, you have never seen any wallpaper borders?
But I haven't done any. Actually, no. I think I've done maybe one kid's room, but it didn't have the wallpaper kind of kids wallpaper thing going on. But I haven't really done many kids' rooms, and I think I'd expect to see that mostly in kids' rooms.
They have them on strips in the middle as well, don't they? Like where they split the room into.
Yeah. You could. It doesn't have to be along the top edge.
No, that's interesting. Maybe they're not cool anymore.
Well, this is what I'm thinking, because I think after the Thomas the Tank Engine strips,
the peak of fashion.
I think that I seem to remember we had like orange and red shade, like square. Yeah, again, like a strip thing going around the edge of the room. So it might have been a trend at the time.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've just done a quick Google of it, and you can still buy them, but you can't buy them in many places.
Mm-hmm.
There is a website that I'm sure Donald Trump really likes as well, called iloveborders.co.uk.
Oh, really?
And it's got loads and loads of different kinds of borders. But a lot of them, and actually looking at them, a lot of them are kids themed, and all of them look garish. All of them look terrible. Like, if I saw any of these in it, and it's weird, isn't it? Because like with a lot of fashion, you just absorb it through time, and it's just if I saw any of these on a wall, I'd be like, what's this? I wonder when they'll come back. I wonder if wallpaper borders come back.
I bet they do.
That's when we get our break, is that people will start searching wallpaper borders, and our podcast will come up, and they'll be like,
we'll be the latest people to have spoken about them.
The defenders of wallpaper borders.
Let's get our position hit correct now. Yeah, we're defending them. We're behind them.
We're defending only wallpaper borders, though. We believe that like country borders,
no,
refugees,
don't like them as much.
No, refugees. Everyone come. That's great. Let's break down those walls.
Break down the
borders,
international borders.
Break down the borders, but let's put some borders up in our house. Paste up the borders. Break down the borders, but paste them up.
Paste up the. That's our slogan for our campaign.
Down, paste them up.
Even if they're garish, I'm behind you. Don't worry.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't often use the word garish.
It's one of those words that perfectly suits bad wallpaper.
Yeah, when you say it, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm saying the word garish. Maybe that's becoming an adult. I find I now use the word garish sincerely. I think it was our kids like, ha, that looks garish. That's what old people say, ha ha. And now we're on a podcast talking about wallpaper's do and don'ts. Two people with zero experience with any kind of interior design or fashion going, it's a bit garish, isn't it?
We've become them.
Yeah. So, interestingly, given food shortages, during the French Revolution, the first violent demonstrations, known ever after as the Rebellion riots, took place at the wallpaper factory. So parts of the French Revolution started in a French wallpaper factory.
Ah, damn. Another reason to get behind. Oh, no, well, if they made borders at that factory, I'm fully behind the now long gone French Revolution.
Yeah.
I'm behind it. I'm behind it anyway, actually.
I don't think they were putting up borders. I'm kind of... to kind of speed up time, I'm not going to go through a lot more of the history. I'm kind of scrolling through because there is
Sorry,
a lot.
I've interjected a lot during
No,
this
that's
history.
okay. There is a lot of history on this, and it is a very good article. All of the articles I reference are in our references if you want to read it. So I'm just kind of going forwards in time. So there you get but big fact from there is that part of the French Revolution took place in the wallpaper factory.
I mean, that's cool. Yeah.
And then it became a thing of, I forgot what I was going to say.
Something to do with wallpaper.
Thanks. So we're going to fast forward a bit now. The mid-18th century saw a massive expansion of Chinese workshops. That's a depressing fact. It's been going on for years. Making woodblock prints in a wallpaper format to cater to the Western love of everything Eastern. These bird and flower export wallpapers had brightly coloured backgrounds. Aimed squarely at the European market, they became a defining feature of the English country house, frequently mentioned in letters and diaries. It is a skill, isn't it? Hanging wallpaper.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I'm not delicate enough to do, but I do know a few people who are really good at it. Those are the people you want in your life.
Yeah, definitely. I will probably never have wallpaper in my house because I can't do it myself.
No.
And I'll be too cheap to be like, I won't want wallpaper enough to get someone to do it. I wonder if I could put borders up myself though.
Yeah.
I think I probably could. We could just have loads of borders as well, and eventually you've got wallpaper.
That's the dream.
Really like eye-hurting wallpaper.
Oh my goodness, that'd be amazing. So yeah, wallpaper got really big. It was blah blah blah, and there was lots of things of people doing it, and it was becoming very luxurious to have these amazing prints out that were kind of made in these things. And a lot of places found that the printing was so fine that the papers were originally assumed to be hand painted rather than block printed. And loads of people were loving it. They were talking how good it was, but such luxuries did not escape notice. So just obviously, I know it's a bit obvious. I'm trying to summarize it. I'm not just reading the article. The article isn't as badly written as I'm saying it. Just trying to. So people did stuff and they thought it was good. Back to the article. Such luxuries did not escape notice. In 1712, a property tax on wallpaper had been introduced under Queen Anne and remained in force for 124 years. Forging wallpaper stamps or anything else was by 1806 among the long list of offences punishable by death.
That's absolute. I mean, wallpaper
stamps. So things that you can print.
Yeah, but punishable by death.
Yeah.
Anything to do with wallpaper shouldn't be punishable by death unless you murder somebody with your wallpaper or your wallpaper stamp.
Need to pay that tax, man. In dodging the tax by simplifying designs into stencils, English manufacturers lost out badly to the French, whose repertoire was endless and boundless. In addition to brilliant copies of textiles, there were panoramic landscapes, battle scenes, grottos, and Gothic and Rococo. Oh, I forgot how you pronounce that. Rococo revival designs. I can't remember.
Sounds about right. Rococo.
Oh, that I know that word. Anyway, I'm just going to pretend that I said it right. Please don't write in. Please write in nice things. Don't write in
just
about.
Cut it in.
The repeal of the tax, together with the introduction of mass production printing techniques in the Victorian period, galvanised the English wallpaper industry once more. Wallpaper went from being a background element in the home to a more important part of the decor. New technologies allowed for greater illusionisms as well as cheaper production of the panoramics. While the designs of William Morris might today appear to epitomise the Victorian look, he was in fact appalled by the vulgar panoramics of the industrial age. The arts and crafts and movement designs produced by Morris & Co. harked back to nature with a repertoire of birds, flowers, trees, leaves and fruits. The only way I can describe the kind of images here, you know, like Hawaiian shirts?
Yeah.
Imagine that kind of like, it's kind of like a pattern that repeats at some point, but it is like a very detailed thing. It's like that, but as wallpaper.
Okay.
That was the kind of style, but for like flowers and roses and all these colours. However, a killer was lurking among the brambles and roses. Morris & Co. used large quantities of arsenic in their dyes, particularly for the greens in wallpaper. In the 1860s, when a number of child deaths were attributed to wallpaper, William Morris refused to accept they had been poisoned. Eventually, he bowed to public pressure and produced a wallpaper that was advertised as arsenic-free. So there you go. Businesses and companies have always been accidentally making poison, killing a load of people and then denying it and then going, oh, okay, I guess... yeah, probably should admit
and
that.
then try our new arsenic-free wallpaper.
Yeah.
Maybe it was all a ploy to begin with. I wonder if they made more money when they started selling arsenic-free wallpaper.
So that concludes the history. The final bit that I want to go through is how to get rid of wallpaper. So on the article, it has 3 ways to get rid of wallpaper. What do you think they are?
Well, there's those things that like you put on the wall that heat up.
So steam is one.
Steamer things.
There's
yeah,
2 more.
Brute force and ignorance. Just rip it off. Get a corner and peel it. Burn it off.
No, one of them's really obvious. Steam, it's part of steam.
Oh, just water it.
Yeah, water.
Yeah.
One more.
Get a load of there's some sort of insects that you just release into the room and it eats the wallpaper.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I don't know why my voice went so deep when I did that. That's my insect seller. There we go. Would you like to buy some insects? They'll eat your wallpaper and they'll paint it too. That'd be cool, actually. Yeah, if he was an insect seller, he's like, right, I've got a spider that'll make you an amazing scarf.
I bet there's a fungus that can do it.
Yeah, probably. Mushrooms is close. That's close. So chemicals
is it?
Is the third
Chemicals.
one.
Yeah.
So water is the easiest way to get rid of wallpaper. Water makes the wallpaper paste become not sticky, then the wallpaper falls off. Number 2 is chemicals. Sometimes the wallpaper paste is too strong for water, then special chemicals need to be used to make the paper paste not sticky. Most of the time, only new wallpaper has to be taken off with chemicals. And the final one is steam. Really hot water makes it easier to remove wallpaper. They are special machines that people can use to make water into steam and use it to remove the wallpaper. A lot to it. And you know what? I just kind of enjoy... I don't know why, I just find the idea of steam being called really, really hot water.
I mean, that is what it is.
Boiled
I
water,
guess.
you know, like, oh,
Yeah.
how do you like... I like to make my cups of tea with really, really hot water.
Oh, what, like steam?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I buy all my video games off of reallyreallyhotwater.com.
Forget cream tea. Try a steam tea.
My favourite kind of tea is a steamy, creamy tea.
What you do, right, is you hold the tea bag with a pair of metal tongs, and then you hold your mug above it, upside down, and then you steam the tea bag, and then the steam goes up into the mug, and then you flip it up. There's your tea.
I've got a cockroach.
Milk, sugar.
I've got a cockroach and I'll make you an amazing cup of tea. A creamy, steamy cup of tea. I don't know where that guy came from. It just caught me off guard. The one thing I just want to say before we go, the last part, Dave.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Wood chip wallpaper.
Wood chip wallpaper.
You know, the bumpy wallpaper.
What, just textured wallpaper, you mean?
Yeah,
Like,
wood chip wallpaper.
is that what it's called? Wood chip?
Yeah, that, you know, like the white stuff that's like bumpy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wood chip wallpaper.
It's not made from wood chip, though.
It is with wood chips.
How? What?
If you take off a slice of wood, if you take off a slice of the wood chip wallpaper underneath, it's got little wood chips in it.
Oh, really? Has it? Is that how they achieve it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought they just put more wallpaper under it or something, you know? Like those bits of paper were thicker, basically, you know, like embossed paper or whatever.
They probably do that for the more expensive ones because that is way easier to take off. Because I tell you what, I lived in a house that was covered from head to toe, and we went to remove that wallpaper, and it took us over a week with a steamer and chemicals and water and super hot water, and it still wasn't coming off. It was only coming off in bits, and we had to proper like scrape it off, and sometimes it take off the wall with it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The worst thing in the world to get off. They painted over it because obviously they probably tried to take it off, and they were like, "This isn't working." It was actually the insect salesman. He's like, "This isn't working."
Yeah.
Even the bug I've got that will eat that wallpaper, he doesn't like wood chip. He's allergic.
He won't go near it.
He's allergic to wood chip. He loves paper.
That's a bad type of wallpaper.
It is the worst, and it was mega in fashion. I don't remember when, 80s maybe. It was mega. Oh, why? It's so funny. I just realised I typed in wood chip wallpaper just to confirm it was called that, because I did feel very slightly crazy for a second then when you were doing that. Maybe that is a whole podcast in itself, doing wood chip wallpaper.
Yeah.
But apparently, but one of the top questions about wood chip wallpaper was, why was wood chip wallpaper popular? And it says like an inexpensive alternative to plasterwork, wood chip was used back in the day to hide cracks and unevenness, with many people wallpapering over it instead of removing it, because once they become bored, it's the horror that hides in our houses, because it is just the most difficult thing to get off your wall. Yeah, because once you do it, it kind of becomes a mush, and then it mushes into your wall because it's wood chip as well. So it's just So if it's been there for a long time, and a lot of them have been there for a while, my walls currently have wood chip wallpaper all over them. But this is a rented flat and it's all painted magnolia, so I just don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah, you better just leave that.
Yeah, so if you have a wood chip in your house and you own that house and want to redecorate, consider getting a professional to do it, because it is a personal hell I would not wish on even my worst enemy, because, man, it was a hard time.
Damn.
That's the microplastic of interior design. It never leaves you. Once you put that wood chip up, it's almost like a visual reminder of microplastics, just always there. No matter how hard you try, you can't get rid of it. So there we go. So that is wallpapers. Wallpaper. You know what? If you know somewhere that has wallpaper borders, please send in a photo. If you're still using wallpaper borders, or you see it and it doesn't look garish, do it. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Just remember, design your house however you like. Whatever people think, they are reflections of your internal thing. And at the end of the day, if you want to take a risk, like all things, if you want to take a risk, do it in the bedroom, because ultimately not a lot of people are going to see it there. So
unless there's seats all around
there's seats all the way around the bed and
an audience sitting
there. And at that point, dependent on what's going on in the bed, if they get bored, they might start looking at the wallpaper going, oh, they've got Thomas the Tank Engine borders up there.
Good choice.
Yeah, good choice. I love it. Dun, 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 dun. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and those that lie betwixt, and I hope you have an amazing rest of week. And if not, just an okay. I want you to be happy with the state of your week, and just know that I love you.
And I love you too.
And Dave, I love you.
Chris, I love you as well.
Thank you so much. And with that, take care, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
It's the Mundane Podcast.